Hello, on this video you are going to see how to generate documentation for your projects using the tool phpDocumentor, which is integrated on Delphi for PHP next release. So let's create a new application, and that tool can be accessed using this menu on the tools menu. So it requests to save our project, so we create a new folder for it, save it, and then here we see all the parameters we can tweak. For example, this is the title for the documentation. This is the source folder where all our PHP scripts should be in. Also, this is a list of files to ignore when parsing. If we use sample tags on our PHP doc, we can set here the folder where all those files reside. This is the package name. You will see that when the documentation is generated, and this is where the documentation is going to be generated. Usually by default is in a documentation subfolder, and here we can select the type of output we want, and also which converter and template to use. Usually this combination is the default one for VCL for PHP projects, because we have made a modification to PHP doc to be aware of the properties and the special syntax we use for VCL for PHP. So what we are going to do now is to add some documentation to our classes. In this case, you see we are using the PHP doc block, which starts with this tag, and this is a simple documentation, and we can write anything here. Okay, so once we use the wizard, okay, generate the documentation, and if we browse to that folder here and new app, there is a new subfolder which contains all the documentation files. You see, documentation for project 1, and here are the classes we have. This is a simple documentation, and we can write anything here. The nice thing of this template is that we have everything ready for properties, methods, events, and JavaScript events. So now I'm going to show you how all that is used. So for this, here is a project I'm working on for an not this one, this one, which is a slideshow component. I will show on a post on the next days. And here we have used the PHP doc blocks to document almost everything should be documented. For example, all the properties are documented here. So we are going to use the documentation wizard to generate that documentation. You see, this is the output folder and so on. So generate. This takes a bit more time because it has more documentation. And now let's browse to that folder, VCL slideshow, and in documentation we have it here. So this is the class for our component with here is the description, and also the files can be generated with syntax highlighting, so it's very nice and are cross-referenced everywhere. And here we have all the properties for this component. You see there is a small description here. This is the same description you get on the bottom of the object inspector, and here are all the properties with its type and description and so on. So you can click any of them and go directly to it. Apart from the HTML documentation, you can generate also, for example, CHM. Okay. So here we have the HTML help project. We can compile, for example, HTML help workshop, and here is the project which contains all the files. Now we are going to compile, and finally what we have is a CHM with all the documentation generated. You see, get this in. This template still doesn't support all the VCL4 PHP features, but it's useful for your existing PHP projects. Okay, so I think this is it. Bye.